much, Logan. Let's bring in distinguished professor at Torrey University, Thane Rosenbaum, for his thoughts. Thane, this is all just breaking this afternoon. Your thoughts on what you've seen so far?
Well, as usual, Newsmax is ahead of the story. It's still very early. What is the mandate for this special prosecutor? Is it the documents that were taken from the White House? Is it the January 6th riot? Is it the overturning of the last election? We have no idea even what this is about. We know that the Justice Department had already been engaged in its own investigation. If they thought they had the elements for a criminal indictment against the president on the documents case, why didn't they just bring it? Why appoint a special counsel? Is the special counsel going to start all over, right? Are they going to restart the clock? Maybe. The Justice Department decided that they don't think they could bring a case because they may not win, but the president has just announced that he's going to run again, and now this restarts the clock by appointing a special prosecutor who he or she could say, look, I got to do my own investigation. I got to start all over. So it's really not clear what this is about because there's been so many different investigations. It's not clear what the mandate is. And let's remember, on the documents case, I've always said on your show, this is a tough case to win. You have to literally say that the Espionage Act, which is usually used for enemies of the state, dissidents, people that sell state secrets to foreign governments, is the same thing as a president who has a possessory interest in documents that were created during his presidency, that there's no evidence that he sold it or distributed it or destroyed it. You have to say that the Espionage Act is violated simply for possessing it or mishandling it. That's it. That's all you have to do. And that ruling has never happened before. We normally think of the Espionage Act for people that are truly enemies of the state, that are selling state secrets, and there's never been any evidence of that. So that's why I always thought that was a tough case to win, and I never thought the government would bring it, and maybe they won't. Maybe they're just appointing a special prosecutor to buy some more time.
Yeah, Thane, considering that the former president has just announced that he's running for president again, would that get him off the hook legally in any way?
Not unless he was elected again, right? If he was actually elected and the case had not yet been brought to an indictment stage, it's still investigative, then of course he would make the same argument that I said yesterday on your show with connection with Joe Biden and this investigation of his son, right? He's saying, I'm immune from criminal investigation and prosecution while I'm the president of the United States. You want to go after my son, good luck to you, but you can't go after me while I'm president. So merely running for president. On the other hand, as you know, and many Newsmax viewers are very, very strong Trump supporters, the more they go after President Trump, especially as he's pursuing the re-election, the more his base gets galvanized. You can just see there's, oh yeah, more of it. They're clamping down now. Now there's a special prosecutor. Remember, when you appoint a special prosecutor, you're making a very strong statement that this is very, very serious charges. So you're putting an impression in the minds of the public, oh my God, something terrible has happened. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a special prosecutor. So you understand that the government's position could be, well, look, here's something we could do. The president just announced his re-election bid. Let's appoint a special prosecutor. What I'm saying to you, they didn't have to. They've already, the Justice Department was already conducting its own investigation. On the documents case, they've been working on this for months. Do you have a criminal conviction elements or not? Let's go. What do you have? Right? Bring it. Why start all over with a special prosecutor if this case is so strong? And again, are they starting from scratch? And again, that means starting the clock again. Remember, they're going to say, and they've continued to say, President Trump needs to be treated like any other citizen when it comes to mishandling of documents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember what the first federal judge said? She said he is in a league of his own.
Okay.
Stop saying that he's just like any other citizen.
Okay.
And by the way, I think she's right.
All right. Yeah. All right. Thane Rosenbaum, thanks for your insight. We'll absolutely keep following this story, but thanks so much.
Anytime.
And we continue our coverage of the 25 recruits struck by Nicholas Joseph Gutierrez. The 22 tomorrow morning. That's on Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on Newsmax on America Right Now. All right. Also joining us to continue the conversation, we're bringing back distinguished professor at Touro University, Thane Rosenbaum. Thane, thanks for coming back. Garland specifically, Mayor Garland says that we need this to happen, or this special counsel, because Trump is running for president. And then, so why is there no special prosecutor, for the Hunter Biden laptop? Why are they being neutral on Trump but not on Biden? It doesn't add up.
Good one, Katrina. Absolutely correct. He makes the point that, so look, the public doesn't hear the word special counsel and they don't think, oh, independent. They don't immediately think that. They don't see objectivity in that. They still think the point that Tom Basile said, appointed essentially by this Justice Department, a prosecutor who'd been appointed by Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. So is this really independent? Secondly, is this prosecutor not going to use the evidence that's been gathered by Garland and his team? Because if he is using the evidence gathered, how is that independent? They've already conducted all this evidentiary fact-finding, and he's going to take that and run with the ball with that? That doesn't seem particularly independent. On the other hand, if he starts all over, as you mentioned with Tom before, that starts the clock, and then this will take forever. But it does also the cynicism of saying, look, I can't be involved in this because there's a presidential election coming up. We cannot look like the Justice Department is taking sides in favor of President Biden. But then why is there no special counsel appointed in connection with another investigation taking place simultaneously in the Justice Department against President Biden's son? It seems to me Garland should have said, I am here today to announce the appointment of two separate special prosecutors so I can step back and not be involved in what will appear to be a political process.
Yeah, Thane, let me ask you this. Okay, Jack Smith comes back from The Hague. They give him all this information from the January 6th committee. They give him what they have on the documents from Mar-a-Lago. He investigates. At the end of all, he brings people in, he talks to people, he goes through that whole thing, which we're getting pretty familiar with, by the way. Then what? Like, does he issue a report to the Attorney General, who then decides whether there should be charges, or does this person decide whether there should be charges?
Bob, you're right. Remember the Mueller report. Remember the investigation. 2 years goes by, and at the end, we have a report. At that point, he's recommending that either the Justice Department bring criminal charges against the president or not. In the case of Mueller, he said, I don't think that there are charges that can be brought against the president. At that time, we had Bill Barr, who also pointed out that he didn't think that even obstruction applied to the president. So the Attorney General made a decision not to bring any actions against the president. There were some cases that were brought prosecutions, but not under Russian collusion. Remember, a lot of those were the convictions were for lying to federal investigators, not for actual collusion. So yes, the damage is often done simply by calling for an investigation that goes on for 2 years and it culminates in nothing. Why? Because one thing prosecutors don't want to do, Bob and Katrina, is bring prosecutions that blow up in their face. If they don't think they can get a jury to agree with them, they don't want in on it.
Well, let me ask you this, Thane, before we run. One could get the impression that after all that we've already seen, he doesn't have enough to bring charges, so he's going to punt to somebody else.
Bob, I think that's already what happened now. I actually think the Justice Department could have, if they had it, they could have brought their own indictment against the president. I don't think they had it. I don't think this is entirely because there's a political presidential election impending. I think it's because they ran out of gas and they had to do something. And here's something that they could do that was very significant: appoint a special prosecutor, restart the clock, get everyone excited again about the documents case, about January 6th, because at the end of the day, they didn't think they had enough evidence to indict the president, but they didn't want to drop this investigation, so they just restarted it.
Okay, I feel like I'm watching Groundhog Day.
I was going to say, they're just dragging it out. Oh, let's try it again. Let's drag it out and do it again.
Wait, what year is this?
Right.
Okay.
All right, Thane Rosenbaum, thanks as always for being with us.
Thank you.
And coming up, millions of